You've tried to implement something new in your life and there has been this level of resistance placed in front of you there. There's something that stops you from making that move forward, from starting that new habit. This is fear. Fear is something that controls a lot of us. I know it controlled me for a very long time without me even recognizing that it was fear, because fear has many different masks and it shows itself in very many different ways. So today I'm going to try to explain to you how to beat fear. That's the wrong word. Not to beat fear, but to let it go, because we're not trying to battle fear. When you battle fear, you end up immediately losing. We want to let go of this fear and then we can move forward. My name is Luther. I've spent over 5,000 hours learning about the concepts of developing yourself into the best version of you and what it truly means to change, not to just get stuck on doing meaningless little things that don't actually make a difference. The very first thing I want to break down is that fear isn't the problem. It's your relationship to the fear. You see, fear is going to be there regardless of what you try to do. No matter what mindset hack or shift that I give to you, there is nothing on this planet that is going to eliminate fear completely. It's always going to be there. We just need to change our relationship to fear. Stop allowing it to hold us back. Once we see fear as not the problem, but as actually the solution, that it should be a marker for where we should be going towards to achieve success, it no longer will stop us. Once we understand that fear is going to be here regardless, we see this as a fact, the truth of life, and also understand understanding, once we can see this, and that also to enter that door of success, to enter that version of yourself that you want to be so badly, you have to pay. Currency that you need to pay with is with fear, of being able to deal with that feeling of fear. And you have the ability to do so. We undermine our own abilities too much in our own heads. We don't realize that we could actually handle a situation. If we use a very simple example of social example, going out to a party or talking to a group of random people to interact or gain new friends, there is a level of fear. It's almost like a primal fear to, like, I don't know if I want to go talk to this person. I don't know if I should. I don't want to bother them. There's all of these fears that disguise them in different ways and try to present these illegitimate reasons why you shouldn't go and put yourself out there, regardless if you're introverted or extroverted. A lot of people think that if you're extroverted, that means you like talking to people. If you're introverted, you don't like talking to people. That's not the case. If you're introverted, you lose energy talking to people. That doesn't mean that you can't enjoy doing it. With extroverted people, you gain energy from talking to them. It doesn't mean that you always automatically enjoy it. That isn't a hard truth or fact. So when you see those situations where fear is there, you have to realize and understand. When you see that fear, for example, when you see that fear in this example of going to interact with a stranger, realize that you'd be okay in whatever situation would actually happen. In most cases, we blow out of proportion what would actually happen. But even if that worst case scenario did happen, we could handle that fear. We undermine our own success, our own ability to achieve success. If someone was to be rude or push us off completely, we could actually completely be okay. Like, something's off with that person, There wouldn't, even if you imagine this horrible situation happening where they start yelling and cussing at you for going to talk to them or wasting their time, you can stand back and take a moment like, that person has had just a bad day. And you can handle that situation. Most of the time, that's not what's going to happen. No matter if you approach 1,000 people, most of the cases, that kind of situation is not going to happen in the first place. So if you can handle that horrible situation, most definitely handle a slightly uncomfortable situation. But we have to accept that. And when we accept that fact, we change our relationship to fear and doesn't hold such a tight grip around us. Once you start shifting your relationship with fear, how do we get to the place where we can actually use fear as a fuel? Because even if you're doing these things, you're putting yourself out there or you're achieving your dreams, you're attracting your dreams to you. If you're allowing fear to suck the energy out of you, it's going to take that much longer to actually achieve your dreams. There's that saying that failure is the stepping stone to success. And the only thing that's stopping us from failing forward is the fear of failing. Many times that fear is so strong that it paralyzes us. It stops us from moving forward, being able to improve ourselves. For us to be able to turn fear into a fuel source, we first have to realize that by doing the things that we fear is how we're going to grow. And the only way to get to that point is to prove it to us. You can do a lot of research and do a lot of writing and theorizing about trying to understand this concept, but the only thing that's going to make a change that is also much faster than doing a lot of theorizing, it's like it happens very quickly, is by taking action. You need to prove to yourself that fear, failing, is what is going, by stepping into those things, is what is going to make the shift and change in you. We've changed our relationship to fear. Now you need to put yourself in a situation that causes fear, where you're feeling it. It's in the moment. It's not just like, oh, you overcome it and then it's no longer there. It's going to be there with you while you're doing the thing. When you're pursuing the project, when you're going to talk to the stranger, that feeling of fear is going to be there with you. Dance with it, allow it to overcome you, let it phase through you. If you fight it, you keep it with you, and you're keeping that battle going on. But if you allow it to just move through you, it will eventually pass. Now, after you've tackled the project, after you've talked to the person, you need to do the next step, which is extremely important, is acknowledge the fact that you just did it. It sounds so simple. It sounds like, of course, like give yourself an acknowledgement. But it is this. It's like you're training. It's like imagine that your brain is like a dog. You're training this dog to crave and see fear and failure and pushing yourself as a way to energize you. When you go and put yourself in those hard situations, when you go and achieve or you pushing yourself to do the project, you have to acknowledge the fact that you're doing something difficult, that you were able to push past that fear, you were able to sit in that fear, and that you did it. This creates this energizing effect inside of you of saying, okay, I want to go do that again. That felt different. That felt alive. I felt different in that moment. I want to go do that again. The problem is when someone does something hard, like going to talk to someone or is pursuing their dreams and it's difficult, they get down on themselves. Like, why is this so difficult? It's so hard that I have to push through and try to achieve these things, and it's just really hard. This talk de-energizes you. It makes it so that fear and failure are actually sucking the energy out of you. If you just change the internal talk that you have after you've stepped into the fear, you all of a sudden take fear from an energy sucker to giving you energy, and you feel more energized, and now you're able to fail forward because you're looking for those circumstances. You're looking for the places that feel slightly uncomfortable. It's like when you fall, if you want to build muscle and you know that the only way to do it is through push-ups, for example, the only way to build the muscle is to fall down and have to do the push-up. It's not by thinking about it or theorizing about it or watching 100 videos on the concept. It is about putting yourself through the actions of doing the push-up that will build the muscle. But first you got to get on the ground. You have to put yourself in that situation and prove to yourself that you can do it. And then once you've done the thing, congratulating yourself, creating a positive feedback loop for yourself. So within your mind, you create an environment where when something's slightly uncomfortable, it boosts you up and makes it like, I was able to overcome something uncomfortable. I did that. And this creates that positive feedback loop. Now, what do you do when fear is too powerful? What do you do when fear has too strong of a grip on you? What do you do when you can't take that first step forward? It's too strong. It feels like fear is strangling you. Taking that step forward is just, it creates knots in your stomach to even think about taking that step forward. How do you get past and over that? It's a very simple concept that immediately shifts and takes away the power that fear has. And I'm going to start off with giving you an example to illustrate what I'm talking about here. If we think about someone who's trying to make it in the stock market, they want to learn how to trade stocks. They work a 9 to 5, and they've heard that if you study and you apply yourself to trading, you're going to be able to get an easier living off of trading. So someone starts to go and trade in the stocks every day, and their goal becomes very important to them. It becomes very important the fact that they make that trade successful. That is the detriment, and that is the thing that causes them to fail, is that it's extremely important to them. This high level of importance causes stress, anxiety, and fear. An extremely high level of fear. Fear is the overarching thing that causes anxiety and stress. When that trader depends on every trade having to be correct, on having to be the right trade, the right move forward in his life, he's put too much importance on his goal, and therefore fear has a very strong grip over him. So the thing that we have to do to reduce the intensity of the fear is to reduce importance. How do we reduce importance? First, we have to accept that we might fail. That's the only way. Accept that you might fail and then have a backup plan. When you accept that there's a possibility that you will win and a possibility that you fail, when both of those realities fully set in, it's like both of these things might happen. It's no longer stressing you out if you do actually fail because you've accepted that it might happen. When you don't accept that you might fail, it stresses you out the fact when you're trying to move forward to succeed. It really starts to stress you and weigh on you very heavily. But once you've accepted the fact that maybe I might fail in this place, there's no longer a stressor there that's holding you back, that's causing a lot of anxiety. And fear is immediately reduced. And because you've shifted and changed your relationship to it, and you've changed fear from being sucking your energy to actually giving you energy, it's very easy to move forward. And so just to quickly recap on this last point, you have to reduce importance on your goal. So to quickly recap on this last point, if fear is very intense for you, you have to reduce your importance to whatever you're going towards and create a backup plan and accept that you might win and that you might fail. Immediately, fear will be reduced. You can move forward with the last two concepts to actually start creating that change in your life and stop just theorizing about making that change. Problem is no matter how hard you try to move forward and make that change in your life, if you're just imploring habits and not changing your self-image, you're never actually going to make a shift and change in your life. So to learn how to make that life-changing shift, watch this video over here.